Hello everyone! First off, I would like to say thank you for clicking on my first ever YouTube video. I'm yoyosmugglerr and welcome to my brand new channel. This has been something I've always been interested in, just never gotten around to it as far as like Planet Coaster or Parkitects or like The Sims are concerned. I play a lot of creative sim games, like management games, but always try to lean towards more the sandbox mode. But yeah, so like I said, this is first time, like a first time I'm doing something like this. I've always wanted, always like I said, I've always been interested in recording game footage simply for the fact that I can have a quote unquote like digital history of the parks that I've built. Because I think it's always neat to go back and look at where you've come from as far as like how you've changed stuff in your parks or what you did to maybe work around a solution. So I've always thought that'd be cool to have some sort of digital diary like that. So yeah, so that's essentially what we're here to do today. And if for some reason people start watching and you happen to find this video, thank you, awesome. And like I said, if people start watching and commenting, then I can get some feedback on my parks, and that's also a plus. So yeah, so I had a blast playing the Planet Zoo beta, and figured now is a good time as ever to try this out. So let's go ahead and we'll hop into our first zoo. Went ahead and created my avatar already. So these right there. So for those who don't know, that's about St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm from. Try to get as close as I could there. Just anywhere in the Midwest is typically alright, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and start up a sandbox mode here, and as I'm sure you saw by the title card there and the title, our park's name is gonna be Islands of Wanyama, and that's a little English twist, or whatever you want to call it. We're making it American, but Wanyama is Swahili for animals. So, islands of animals, essentially what I'm going for here. So let's go ahead and pick a biome. I kind of want it to be located sort of in the Midwest over here. Perfect. Oh, I was torn between Midwest or Florida, so we could do something more tropical. But looks like it's gonna be the same regardless. So let's go ahead and pick that. Name of the zoo. All right, so we're gonna do islands of, if I can spell, Wanyama. I think Wanyama is a very fun name. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Tried to see if I could find some sort of pronunciation so that way I can make sure that I was pronouncing it right before this video. But couldn't find anything, so all I had to go off was Google Translate. So there we go. Okay, we can select continent. Okay, North America, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and what's this? Okay, create a new zoo. Okay, boom. All right, well let me go back here. Oops. Temperate, right? Yeah, that's where we're at. All right, perfect. All right, we're gonna go ahead and create the zoo then. Not sure if I have the DLC stuff downloaded already. Right now it's currently 7 o'clock, a little after 7 Central Standard Time. And woke up this morning about 6:02. The game launched at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So I got a little bit of a late start here, but just wanted to make sure everything was set up and working fine. Did some audio testing. Just want to apologize, the audio is a little funky on your guys' end. Like I said, I was I was just doing some audio testing, and just depending on like what I'm listening to it on, it seems fine. Like when I listen to it on my TV speakers, it's fine. When I listen to it through my Apple headset, it's fine. Um, but when I listening through it through my game headset, which is also what I'm using to record on, it's a little funky and it's got kind of like an echo. So I'm not sure if it's just my headset. I'm sure it is, because I know the recording quality isn't the best though either. But I think the headset is just kind of going downhill. So definitely gonna have to invest into some new sound and some new recording software if we want to actually take this thing further. This is just kind of like a last minute thing I decided to do. Like I said, figured it'd be a good time to hop on. So just kind of last minute thing. So didn't want to drop a whole lot of money on it in case I got tired of it real quick here. So if we happen to get a couple episodes into this series, bear with me. I may do an upgrade a little bit. But yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll get started on this zoo. Let's check it out here. Oh, this thing is just, I guess, oh, that's so cool. I guess assume that's the outline. Yep, okay. A little bit farther out there, but I swear this map is way bigger than Planet Coaster maps. Alright, well, got a lot of room to work with here. I don't like that it's just in the middle of nowhere. I really, really wish we would have had a map sort of like the Ghostbusters map from Planet Coaster where there was like a city off here in the distance somewhere. Uh, that would have been so cool. Just because, some of the zoos that I've personally visited, haven't visited a whole lot, but some of the zoos that I visited, St. Louis Zoo obviously is my home zoo, and Brookfield Zoo as well up in Chicago. Those are both, big city zoos, and they are not necessarily downtown, but close enough to downtown to where you can see downtown. I don't remember if you could see downtown from Brookfield. I know it's not too far from downtown Chicago. Uh, but Forest Park in St. Louis is where the St. Louis Zoo is located, and not that you can necessarily see the city from St. Louis Zoo, uh, but you can see it in certain parts of Forest Park, which is the bigger park around the actual zoo itself. So that would have been cool to have off in the distance there. But no worries, we'll go ahead and see. We'll do. We'll work with what we got. I'm not exactly sure how these trees are going to work with the temperate the climate. Uh, so that's exciting for me to see as well. That's another thing that I was thinking about when picking what zone. Because like I said, the park's name is Islands of Wanyama. Basically, we are going to go for a Islands of Adventure type. I'm just gonna take a whole lot of inspiration straight from there, uh, just because I love that park a lot, and I would like to do something a little bit more than just your basic zoo. Um, just kind of like a crossover between Busch Gardens and then your typical uh, conservation zoo. Um, I don't know, is conservation zoo an oxymoron? I'm not sure. But you get what I'm saying. So kind of, a little bit more on the high end, but not to that whole theme parky vibe. So basically, now's a good time to let you know what my plan is. So I think for now we're just gonna leave this alone. I thought about dressing this up, but I do really like it. But I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, 'cause see, we can't really bill outside this line here, so it's not like we can really do anything to hide this at the moment. Um, may have to do that at a later time. Maybe somebody on YouTube or somebody else will come up with a good solution on how to hide these. But for now, just to kind of not necessarily hide this or mask it, but just to kind of get away from it, I was thinking what my plan is going to be. Um, Come out with a path here, right? Not exactly sure how far we're going to come out with it. I mean, we got all this space to work with, so I'm not really concerned on how far we come out. But I'd rather not have it too far out. But so we're going to come out here with it, and then eventually, if you guys have ever been to the Brookfield Zoo, they have this really neat underpass um, for pedestrians, and that's what I think I'm going to try to do, just to kind of break up the actual zoo part over here with this entrance right here. So this path is going to slowly, I just pointed at the monitor like you guys can see, but yeah, so this path is going to slowly, gradually come down here, and then I kind of want it to come out here and wrap around, and then wrap back underneath, and then go underneath our main street right here. So this street right here is gonna, and I'll dress up the street too. But the street right here is going to be, the main street in front of the zoo here. It'll have like, I'm thinking like a two-way, um, or yeah, two-way road. So um, one way each, and then a third lane for like possible like drop off and pickup for like taxis and buses. I'm not exactly sure on how big I want to go with that. I don't want to go to the whole theme park drop off pickup area, but something that we could do, that's kind of feasible and realistic. And then on this side over here is where I want our parking lot to be, so maybe a fourth lane for the road as well for a turn-in lane possibly here. Um, so yeah, so I'm just gonna play around with it and just kind of see what works best. Like I said, the main goal here is just to break up this from the actual park entrance over here. So, because eventually, once this road gets put in, like right here, I'm gonna have this come back up and around and level it off. Try to get it back in front of, kind of line it up with here. Not the best with terrain in Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo for that matter. I struggled in the beta a little bit as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some people put out some more in tune pathing tutorial with that works with the terrain. There's plenty of pathing tutorials and terrain tutorials out there. Just there's not one that really focuses on how those two work together, because that's where I always tend to get hung up on, and I find myself dressing it up with building pieces and shrubbery and all that other stuff. So instead of just having terrain flush with the actual path. So that's probably what I'm going to struggle with most. So it's probably not the best idea for the first episode, but you got to start somewhere, and if it's terrible, then I may cut most of it out. Um, but what we're going to go ahead and do then, once we come up here, that's when we're going to go ahead and get into our entrance plaza here. And like I said, I'm taking heavy inspiration from Islands of Adventures, so I really want to do uh, their entrance, and I'm blanking on the name. Port of Entry. Port of Entry is the name of that little entrance area there. It's got that very Moroccan styled, crazy clutter type thing, and I just think that would be a great entrance for a zoo. I've always kind of thought that every time I visited there. So that's what we're gonna kind of go ahead and do. I don't know if we're gonna do the lighthouse because I kind of like have another idea that I want to do for kind of like a park weenie at the entrance. But the lighthouse is still an option. I'm probably gonna build it, but I don't know if it'll stay. Um, but yeah, so we'll probably do the ticket booths too. I don't necessarily know if there'll be ticket booths though, because I kind of want to keep this zoo free, uh, which is just like my zoo at home, the St. Louis Zoo. It's free. You can go there 24, not 24/7, but 365 days a year, and it's always free. So that's kind of what I want to do. Maybe we'll make the ticket booth some sort of like information boost or something like that. And then we'll get in, once we get actually past the park entrance plaza type thing, then we'll get into the actual port of entry with the buildings. I'm not going to make a one-for-one recreation of it. Like I said, I'm just going to take some heavy inspiration from it. Most of the buildings are probably going to be based off of it. But I just kind of want to make some of the buildings and then mash them together in my own style. Because I don't want that. If you've ever been there, you know how long it takes to walk from the entrance to the actual end of port of entry, to where you either go left or right. So I don't want the guests walking that far. I just want something that basically they can ask, or they can act as sort of like maintenance buildings and stuff like that. We'll have some gift shops too, uh, but stuff that we can put the staff rooms in, and the trading center in, um, just that way it's all there centrally. Um, so yeah, so these first couple episodes, oh my god, it's getting dark in me already. I'm talking too much. So these first couple episodes are going to probably be a little boring to watch, to be fair, because we're going to be working on a lot of just basic need stuff, like I said. And then once we get into the actual building, and once the entrance is done, then we may move on to some animals, or then we will move on to some animals. So animals are coming, but unfortunately not for a couple of episodes. Let's turn this back to daytime. There we go. So yeah, so it's going to be quite boring probably for the first few episodes, unfortunately, but wanted to make sure I got everything in instead of just hopping in, once all the building was done, because I know a lot of people like myself like watching the actual building part of the time. So that's, speaking of time lapse, so that's going to be basically what my format is going to be is for these first few episodes, especially, there's going to be a lot of time lapse of me actually building everything over here, and once we actually get done building stuff and we start branching out to doing actual animal exhibits, that's when I think we'll move more into the live stuff. So it'll be kind of like a let's play type vibe, and I'll come over here and we'll do some talking as well on what my thoughts and everything for it are, and possibly some time lapse for the actual animal exhibits too, if we get into something tedious like rock work or stuff like that. So yeah, so once again, just want to thank you. I know this was kind of a long intro, but just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what my channel is going to be about and what this series is going to be about. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here so you don't have to hear me rambling anymore. I'll leave you guys with some music while I start building, and if you want to skip ahead, you're more than welcome to do so. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, and welcome back. As I'm sure you can already tell, it's a little bit different from where we left off in the time lapse. That's because I just started getting on a roll and unfortunately didn't get a lot of this on the time lapse for you guys. It's just basically a whole bunch of tedious work regardless, but I went ahead and did a lot of the foliage and the rock work around, our little underpass tunnel for us, and or I should say for our guests. And then it escalated a little bit more, so let's go ahead and walk out and take a look at it. So off to the right here, you can see this little zoo sign I curated, and it's got some, I believe those are stags on some rocks over here. And wanted to go ahead and make that zoo sign because it's very reminiscent of the sign we have at the St. Louis Zoo here, where they had this in their parking lot. So theirs is a little bit bigger, but I went ahead and went with the font that we had. I may try to recreate it later on with some art shapes or some rocks possibly, because their zoo sign is much bigger, but it's four-sided and it goes all the way around. The letters connect together. It's just a really cool sign in person, so I wanted to try to basically recreate that, pay homage to it. So that's what we have for now. But let's go down here and we'll check out all this rock work and the foliage work. And if you come down here, you can see to the left we went ahead and added a little picnic area, as well as this little bench area with the trash cans and the recycling bins, of course. And we got your little conservation boards over here as well. Got to make sure you're getting all those facts in, letting everybody know what's going on. I really like how this turned out. This was something that I didn't plan on. It just kind of, the terrain was giving me a little trouble here, so I went ahead and I rolled with the punches. So, glad I was able to convert it, because a lot of times when playing a coaster, I'd get frustrated and I'd, would just steer clear of the terrain. So glad I was able to, glad I had enough motivation, I should say, to, get that taken care of and be productive with it. So really like how that turned out. So if you come over here, you can actually look down here and see all the work that we did. So it's just a little grassy area with a whole bunch of rocks over here and some foliage and a little pond down there as well. I really would have liked to have had a river running down here, not necessarily a waterfall, but just kind of like a little trickle down river that starts over here somewhere, or even starts over here and then goes underneath the path. But just didn't really want to put in that time at the moment, because this is already about 6 hours worth of work here. So started at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, about an hour after the game released, and worked all the way up until about 1 o'clock. Then took some lunch break, and then came back and recording this now. So yep, got a lot of work in today. Probably gonna do some more work after I get done recording this here. But yeah, so definitely wanted to have a river. It was definitely a thought I had, but just didn't know how it was going to work out, because the water physics with Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo can be a little tricky in how you place the water. And I know we got some great waterfall effects too that I definitely want to work with sometime. I just didn't know if that would be the appropriate time to do so. So I passed on it for now. It's something we can always definitely come back and revisit. So yeah, I really like how this turned out too. This little bench area, I know it's not much, but I was very satisfied with how that looked as well. Just a whole bunch of rocks and foliage over here as well. And like I said, just a whole bunch of filling it out. There's a reason why it's not in the time lapse for you guys. Because I started working on it, I was like, well, maybe I should record it, but decided not to, just because it's so tedious and doesn't really necessarily make for the best content at times. So let's go ahead and we'll take a walk down here. Got some more conservation boards. And then we got our little elephant statue welcoming us to our pathway under the road. Whoa, there you go. All right. Yep. So little statue welcoming us. So got some more conservation boards. This guy right here is currently out. He doesn't have enough power. The little power circle from our original entrance right here cuts off right in between these guys, right on the lamp. I'm not even sure if the lamp has power or not, but no worries. We'll get that sorted out once we work closer towards the park here. We'll get them some power. But got some more recycling bins, some trash can bins down here, because you can never have enough of those. If you play Planet Coaster, no matter how many janitors you have, there's always going to be trash everywhere. Got some donation bins if you feel like you want to donate some stuff on the way in or the way out if you had a good time. definitely need those. I guess we don't necessarily need them since we're in sandbox mode, but just to be realistic. But yeah, very happy with how this little underpathway, under walkway, under bridge. Not sure exactly what the term is, but yeah, really happy with how that turned out here. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's pretty much based off of the Brookfield Zoo walkway. It's very similar in style as far as like the wood goes. Theirs looks a little old and outdated, so I went ahead and kind of updated it a little bit more, made it a little bit more nicer. Very happy with how this animal sign came out. All I did since the time lapse, I just grabbed all these and just moved them over a little bit so that way the zebra wasn't as crowded over there with the leaf. Still looks a little crowded, but not too bad. I don't think it's not something that I'm gonna throw a fit about here. But really happy with these animal signs too here. I wanted to try to get them facing different ways, but they're really only one way. And you can obviously flip them around, but you really get this nice texture if you leave them facing this way, whereas if you rotate them 180 degrees, it's just kind of a flat black. So you could do it, you could work with that, but I just really like that texture, so I was like, you know what, we're just going to leave it like that for now, it's fine. But yeah, really glad with how this came out. Like I said, just kind of was looking at Brookfield Zoo's underpath right here, and just kind of based it off of that. They really didn't have a lot going on with theirs though. They just had kind of one little pathway walking up here to their parking lot, and then all this was just kind of a grassy, patchy area with some fencing on the side here. I just kind of wanted to make it a little bit nicer than that. So yeah, really love this. I know this fencing is technically made for a habitat fence, but man, I love this fencing so much. It's so easy to work with, and I know it's kind of like a cop-out way of making some fence because it's so cheap and quick, but I just really love the way this looks. I'm not really impressed with the fence that we have in game right now at the moment. They're very specific area-wise. There's not really anything generic. That's why I went with this fencing up here. It's the New World fencing, so it matches this wall here. But I'm just still not sold on this fencing. I may go back and revisit that and redo it, make some custom fencing myself. But for now, that'll do. But yeah, just really like this wooden fencing. I just love how generic it is and how easy it is to work with. But yeah, got the tunnel done. For the most part, we went ahead and added some banners in here as well. Didn't get this side done yet because I still have to do this pathing on this side, so I think we're going to leave that for next episode. I just didn't want to, commit to the structure of the actual tunnel on this side until we know how we want to do this pathing. Originally, I wanted it to basically replicate this pathing on this side and just have it come up like right here and then come this way. So that way it would line up perfectly with our original entrance right here. But since we have all this foliage right now, I don't think it necessarily matters. So I'm thinking I'm just going to do a straight slope up here. That way you kind of get a grander reveal when you get up here. So that's kind of my thought process as of right now. We'll get that tackled next episode, hopefully. But let's go over back to our main entrance here, a little entrance plaza, and take a look at what else we did. Got a huge parking lot done, or I should say started, not done. We got, the base of it, the bare bones laid out. And that's kind of really what my main goal was to do for this as well today. I knew I wasn't going to get this parking lot finished just because there's a lot of, tiny details that need to go in this parking lot, such as street lamps and trees and filling out all these green spaces here and filling out, these corners right here, and then definitely just, filling this out too. I'm not exactly sure what we want to do with that here. But my thought process right now, so this is your main road. This is going to be the main entrance over here. Right now this is 4 flat roofs wide, so it's about 4 lanes. It's a little bit wider than a regular lane compared to the vehicle that they have in the game, but it's Planet Zoo, so Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster are a little bit oversized, so we're just going to work with it for now. It's not part of the actual zoo, so I'm not too worried about it. But we'll come in here, we'll do some road markings. But these 2 main lines, I'd like to do, one, 2-way road, 1 lane each. And then this far one, some sort of like a bus drop-off lane for buses only or taxis only or something, so that way they can come in here and this can be like a, this is 2 lanes right here. So that way this far right lane here will be kind of like a drop-off lane, so that way you can just get dropped off and picked up right here and walk in and out of the zoo, and then they can just loop back around here and then exit out. And then this lane may be some other sort of drop-off, I'm not exactly sure, maybe for like Ubers or something. We'll get to that once we get to it though. But yeah, so just wanted to kind of get like a bare bones down for the parking lot. I don't think it's something we're going to finish right away, just because I would like to get into the actual zoo itself and work, with the entrance plaza as soon as we can. That way we can get to the animals as soon as possible, because I'm really excited to get to the animals. I just want to make sure that I can get all the nitty-gritty stuff out of the way first, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's what we got right now. I'm very happy with how this little entrance walkway turned out. I was very nervous with the terrain, so glad it turned out, somewhat decent. This was, as I'm sure you saw in the time lapse, this whole part was giving me a huge fit with the floating little, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't rock, it was earth of some sort. I tried covering it up with a tree, and I was like, oh man. But yeah, glad I was able to, stick with it and get it sorted out. And I really enjoyed the time lapsing and recording all this, actually. So very, so far so good. Enjoying my first YouTube experience. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. But yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap it up for the first episode. So be sure to leave a like and a comment on what I can improve on, or let me know if you enjoyed something or if you didn't enjoy something. And of course, subscribe for more Planet Zoo content in the near future. And of course, if you lasted this long, I'd like to thank you for bearing with me on my first video, and I hope to see you next time. See you guys soon.